So you're looking for a little bit more money and you're thinking, I want to start selling on Depop, I want to start selling clothes, but how can I start? Well, it's lucky you've clicked on this video because that is what we're going to be talking about, all the different ways that you can start selling on Depop. I'm going to be going over a variety of different methods that you can use to start selling on Depop, pretty much all of them which I've tried. And at the end, give you my favorite method and as well the biggest tip that I could give anyone selling on Depop. Let's get into number one, which is literally just buying through vintage wholesalers, which I've done quite a lot of on this channel. So if you want to see what you can actually get, go check out my other videos, but there are some big pros to buying through vintage wholesalers and at the same time quite a few cons. Arguably probably the biggest pro of going through these wholesalers is that you're going to get a lot of stock pretty quickly. But you're now probably thinking to yourself, where's the downside to this? It all sounds pretty positive to me so far. The biggest downside I would say about buying through these wholesalers is that you are just buying blind.
I'm legally blind, I can see barely.
Obviously you get to choose the category of stuff that you get to buy, but what you actually get, that's up to the wholesaler. And sometimes you can end up with some pretty shocking stuff, which if you go and watch my old unboxings, some of the stuff I got in there was a little bit questionable. But if you are going to do that as well, make sure you turn the volume down because otherwise you're not going to have speakers by the end of it. But overall, wholesalers are pretty good if you just want stock quickly and as well if you are on a little bit of a budget. There is also another way where you can get a bulk amount of clothes pretty quickly and as well on a budget, which gets rid of the one negative that wholesale has, and that is by going to kilo events. I cannot praise kilo events highly enough. I've bought so many sick clothes from kilo events, and as well I would probably say a kilo event is probably the way I enjoy spending my Sunday more than anything. If you want to see some stuff which I've got from kilo events before, there'll be a video up in the cards, but these are so good if you are looking to start Depop. They might not be as good as buying through the wholesalers if you want things like specific things, maybe like you want 40 Carhartt jeans for example, because you might not find 40 Carhartt jeans on the day, but if you just want a little bit of variety of everything, kilo sales are so the way to go, because as I said, it eliminates that one negative of buying through the wholesalers, which is you are buying blinds, because at the kilo events you get to hand pick the items. And as well, if you do go and watch the haul video which I just said about, you'll see I literally spent about £80 in that haul and got at least £300 worth of clothes, if not more than 300. So kilo sales I would say are definitely a really good way to go if you are on a budget and as well you want to know what you're actually getting. But if you don't have a budget, probably the best way to start on Depop is to go hand picking, but as I said, you do kind of have to have a big budget or near enough unlimited, because most wholesalers hand picking sessions start at £500, which not everyone can just lay down. But this is probably easily one of the best ways to start on Depop, because you'll be getting wholesale quality stuff. Like you'll be able to go buy 40 pairs of Carhartt jeans if you want. I don't know why I keep using that as the example, but you'll be able to buy those 40 pair of Carhartt jeans and actually select them and not be at the wholesalers like will, because sometimes what you might get in the wholesale bales is what people who go hand picking like to call the hand picking rejects. But getting into the grand reveal of my favorite way, and the way that I would say is probably the best way to get into selling on Depop if you've never sold before especially, and that is starting small. I know no one wants to do this, I know everyone wants to go straight up to selling loads of clothes. I know I did when I first started selling, but the best way I would say to do it is to start small by just going to your charity shops or even going to your kilo events and just picking up a couple of items. I would say leave your wholesale and your hand picking until a little bit further on down the road when you've got a little bit of experience on what sells and just on selling as a whole, because you might find out you don't even like selling on Depop because a lot more goes into it than meets the eye. But probably my biggest tip, which I wish I would have known before starting on Depop, is stock clothes that you actually like. Don't just stock clothes of stuff that you think, oh, that will sell, I'll just buy 100 items of that, because you won't enjoy selling clothes you don't actually like, because as well you probably won't even get any clothes for yourself out of it, which is probably the biggest perk of selling on Depop. Half of my wardrobe is probably stock which I bought for my Depop, which has ended up in my wardrobe rather than someone else's. But yeah, they are all the ways that you can start making money and selling on Depop. I hope you've learned something. I hope you now know how you can start selling on Depop. But I do hope you've enjoyed or found this video helpful. Make sure to go check out that pre-love kilo video, because that's a madness. But I hope to see you in another video.